In our scenario of the near future, the first explorers on Mars have survived a near-fatal crash and a dangerous trek across a hostile planet. But now, a storm of abrasive dust has torn a hole in the mission commander's spacesuit. It's the one thing the astronauts fear above everything else.
You've got 10 or 12 seconds before you lose consciousness. You'd better exhale right away. Empty your lungs, because otherwise they'll quickly expand and rupture.
12 seconds after his suit tore, the commander is unconscious. His skin is turning blue. His crewmates have less than 90 seconds to get him through the ERV's airlock and administer emergency oxygen before his blood circulation ceases and his organs shut down forever.
After you've lost consciousness, you hope that someone will hook you up to pressurized oxygen within the next minute and a half. If you don't get hooked up, you'll die for sure. If you do get hooked up and you start breathing oxygen again, it turns out that when you come to, there's usually not much permanent damage.
The commander survives with seconds to spare. Despite his injuries, he will make a full recovery. Soon, the crew is back to full strength, working and performing experiments. The exploration of Mars has begun in earnest.
Mars, to me, will challenge all the expeditionary experiences that we've had throughout our history. It will take all the best lessons learned from all past expeditions, the polar ones, the ones through the jungles, the ones through North America. Mars is a super challenging place. It's very unforgiving.
Here on Earth, if things go wrong, we can rely on there being air to breathe and water to drink. On Mars, if something goes wrong, then the situation is automatically much more serious.
But the astronauts have proven that they can adapt to the Martian environment. Like polar explorers, they protect themselves from the frigid temperatures. Like desert explorers, they learn to live with the ever-present dust.
In our own desert station that the Mars Society runs, we brought out a really superb microscope, but it was disabled by dust within a few weeks of its arrival. On the other hand, some much cruder kind of microscopes, similar to the kind that college students use routinely, have proved very robust. In a frontier environment, you don't want to bring a racehorse, you want to bring a mule.
Not everything on Mars is more difficult than on Earth. The surface winds, for instance, are mild, too weak to threaten the astronauts or their instruments.
The Martian atmosphere is only 1% as thick as Earth's atmosphere. And so if you're on the ground and a 60-mile-an-hour wind kicked up, you would only feel the force of a 6-mile-an-hour wind.
We have here an anemometer, or wind gauge, which helps us measure the wind speed. It's a very simple design, really. You've got these cups on top that capture the wind as it blows by, and it causes the cups to spin. You simply count the number of rotations of the cups, and that gives you the wind speed. It's a very simple design, very much the same as the one that was invented back in the 1800s, except, of course, with this digital readout.
Well, let's see if we can get some wind here. Oh, there we got some. Oh, here comes a gust.
Because the atmosphere is so much less dense and you have far fewer molecules of air sort of blowing on the anemometer, you would need a 20-mile-an-hour wind on Mars to feel what a 2-mile-an-hour wind would feel like on Earth. So you can see the wind that's blowing at that speed is sort of lightly mussing your hair. If you were to have this on Mars, a similar wind speed that would give you the same sort of effect would be about a 70-mile-an-hour wind. So that's hurricane speed.
The astronauts do more than adapt to Mars. They extract water from the surface and use Martian soil to grow food.
Now, in terms of growing food, the things that can be grown most easily are leafy things like lettuce. At a certain point, you're going to want to grow potatoes, which can create a great deal of starch per square meter of farmland.
A year ago on Mars, 4 humans struggled to survive. Now they are beginning to make a planet bloom. But it's only a beginning.